Read Junk. Read Junk. Read Junk
Podcast.
ReadJunk Podcast with your host, my guy.
Hey everyone, this is the ReadJunk Podcast. I'm your host, Bryan, and I hope everyone's doing well. We're back with a new episode, maybe the last one before the end of 2020. If not, we'll be doing a year in review episode right before the new year. We'll see what happens, see if we have time. This episode's with my buddy Frank, and we talk all about Mandalorian Season 2 for the most part, Star Wars, all the future Star Wars Disney Plus stuff that's happening out. There's more movies coming out as well. Just letting you know, there's lots of spoilers in here, so if you haven't seen any of this stuff, stay away from this episode. We finished things up with talking about our trips going to Galaxy's Edge down in Walt Disney World last year. We were supposed to do that last year, talking about it when we got back from it, but things got a little bit delayed, so we ended up talking about that to finish up the episode. When you get a chance, be sure to follow the site on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you're sharing and liking and trying to beat that damn algorithm. Tell your friends about the podcast as well. We're all over the place, YouTube, Spotify, and you can just listen to the podcast on ReadJunk.com as well. I hope everyone has a happy holiday, and we'll be back with a new episode either soon or in the new year. So here's my Star Wars chat with my buddy Frank right here on the ReadJunk Podcast. All right, so The Mandalorian just finished up, and we're just going to talk about the show in general, the season, how it went, that last episode. Then we're going to just be talking about futures, Disney Plus, Star Wars, and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know where you want to start. I mean, you want to start with the last episode, and then there's a lot to unpack there.
Start with that.
Well, I guess I should introduce the word. I'm speaking with my buddy Frank, who I went to college with. I haven't talked to you in a while, so it's been finally good to get you back on.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, but you're one of the biggest Star Wars fans I know, so I figured you would be a good one to talk to with this.
Yeah.
I see you on social media arguing all the other people on the Star Wars accounts and stuff all the time.
It's like I've gotten to the point now where I give up on I will not look at comments on social media because it just baits me into an argument every time.
Yeah, don't bother.
I'm just I don't have the time or the give a shit to really devote. Can I curse? Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
Fuck. I don't have the time or the give a shit to really devote to arguing with toxic fanboys online. It's. The fan base, I think, is super split. It's super split ever since
the prequels. I would say for the prequels.
Yeah, I mean the prequels, but then the sequels now, the Disney sequels, and I don't know, man. I love it all. I appreciate it all. I saw episode 1 11 times in the theaters. 11.
I think I saw it 7 or 8. Yeah, it was something up there.
I'm a prequel nerd. I love the prequels. Jar Jar sucks, but whatever.
We saw it together, and we're like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then we saw Revenge of the Sith together.
My first showing was with you guys.
Right, in Middletown, New York, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when it was we were with John, and then everyone was talking, and John's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
We're like, let's get in a fight in episode 1.
Yeah. Yeah, that last episode, man. Wow.
I enjoyed most of that episode. It was the only thing that took me out was the CGI Luke.
Yeah, I mean,
it didn't look good, but it was still a badass moment, though.
Yeah, I'm currently playing Star Wars Battlefront 2.
And it looks like that.
Luke makes an appearance in that, so for me it was kind of like seeing that just in a TV show.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest CGI, but it's certainly not the worst thing I ever saw either.
It looked
But,
worse. It looked worse than what you saw in Rogue One, though. It looked like
dude,
you know.
the Governor Tarkin in Rogue One, they nailed that so well. Like, it took me a minute. I was like, Peter Cushing's dead, though. Like, it took me a minute to realize that. I mean, the Leia was a bit wonky at the end, but
Yeah, which I
think they nailed it with Peter Cushing.
that's my argument with these kind of things, where it's like you could have just got away with it. It was Princess Leia wearing a hood, Luke Skywalker wearing a hood, and then not even showing, or just get another actor like Sebastian Stan looks exactly like him, and that's what everyone's trying to get him to be. I mean, I guess if they do anything further with this, I mean, they're gonna need to do like just doing one scene is like, okay, I'll tolerate it, but if it's like more an entire episode, then you're gonna need to get somebody, because the deep fake thing just does not look good for certain things.
It was a bit stiff, I would say, like with the mouth movement.
Polar Express, yeah.
Probably the main thing I noticed. I didn't really notice it as much the first time I watched it, because I watched it at work, at the barbershop, and like it's a bigger space, smaller TV, and there's three of us kind of like sitting across the room trying to watch in between doing haircuts.
Busy day.
No, we actually blocked out our appointment at 8:00. So the three of us that were working there didn't have to cut hair at that point, so we could devote it to watching The Mandalorian season. Yeah.
Man, trying to stay off social media all day to watch it at 8:00 at night, it's rough, because even just like throughout the season, it was just like I would go on Twitter, and I have like on TweetDeck, I have like all these columns, and it has what's trending, and I just see like Boba Fett or Jedi, and I'm like fuck, I'm like I gotta get off this.
Yeah. I typically I don't go on social on Friday mornings when I wake up. I stay off. My one buddy that works with me, actually, he saw a spoiler at something like 5:35 a.m.
Oh.
Like when he got up to go to work, he saw like he hopped on Instagram quick and saw a video of like a reaction of people watching it, and it's like it's 5 in the morning. Like, give people a minute, man. Like. I won't say anything about it until Monday. Like, if I'm going to talk about it at work out loud, I'll be like, has anyone in this room watching The Mandalorian, and are you caught up before I say anything? Because then I'll talk.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
there's got to be like a grace period. Yeah.
Point.
It's like, all right, sorry.
I've seen it 6 times by Monday. I'm ready to talk. You know?
I've only seen it once. I mean, I've seen each episode once. There was a few episodes I definitely wanted to watch again.
I think I've watched every one 5 times except the last one. I'm only on 3 right now.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
I pretty much just watch it, over and over again.
You got Disney Plus just for that, and that's it.
Yeah, I did. Because I lost my DVD copies of Star Wars, so I was like, well, I could go out and buy them again, but it's like $80-something, or I can just get Disney and just watch it whenever I want.
Yeah, I mean, the quality's good too. It's like I have Disney Plus and the Blu-rays, and then I'm like, why bother with the Blu-ray when I can just the streamings, unless it starts buffering like crazy. So I mean, you can't totally rely on it sometimes, but I mean, if you have both of them, So, but the rest of that episode was really good, and I was like, when you see that TIE fighter coming in. And I'm like, is it the Ranger guys, like the from the Resistance or the Rebellion that are coming and flying, or is it another Jedi that we haven't seen yet? Which I was kind of hoping it would have been, but I had such mixed reactions towards it for some reason. I don't know why, and I was like, it's kind of like, I think that the whole deep fake face thing kind of threw me off a little bit, and I don't even know what the hell he said. Like, I don't remember what he said to Mandalorian and all them.
He didn't say. He was really quiet, really soft spoken. He didn't say much.
Like,
he was asking if it was Jedi, and he was like, yes, and like, that Grogu wouldn't be safe until he learned to control his powers, but nothing like, he didn't really have a ton of lines, which was actually kind of cool to see, like, a mature, fully trained Jedi Luke who wasn't whining about something, but just like casually cutting through these Dark Troopers that beat the shit out of Din.
Yeah.
And like cutting through them like they're paper dolls was pretty friggin' awesome, you know? Like, we never really got to see Luke with his full set of powers, you know?
Like, you saw, like, I was watching with Connor today, we were watching the sail barge scene. And like he was awesome. I mean, that's still one of my favorite things of any of Star Wars scenes. But I mean, you don't see him like using the Force to crush robots in half, and,
right?
You know, that kind of stuff. So that was kind of cool.
That was like his rookie year of Jedi, really.
Yeah, and I guess he wasn't technically a Jedi until he had to kill, you know, Vader.
Right.
Yeah, so that part was really cool, and then seeing like how it kind of was very similar in Rogue One, where he like comes, or you see like the lightsaber light up and it's all smoky.
The hallway.
Yeah. So that was, and it was like those robots, man, or like the dark troopers were like, it was like Terminator.
Yeah, they were gnarly. Those came from like, oh God, I want to say like one of the
Clone Wars or Rebels or something
games back in the day.
Oh.
And probably from I never read a lot of like the Legends books. Like I read a few of them, but I'm not very well versed in any of that stuff.
Yeah,
I know that they were definitely like factored into that kind of. They pulled a lot of stuff out of the Legends universe now. Thrawn, I mean, they pulled Thrawn out. With,
everyone was losing their shit for that.
So, I mean, that's a whole nother thing too. Like you said, when the X-wing pulled up, as soon as I saw the X-wing and it didn't answer back, I was like, "Dude, it's fucking Luke." I'm like, "That's Red 5 right there. That's Red 5," and so leading up to it, I thought like, all right, I had 3 like Jedi that I thought are gonna come. Luke being one of them. The other one I thought was going to be Cal Kestis, who was in the Jedi Fallen Order game.
Oh, okay.
That just came out like maybe a year or two ago. That's a really cool video game I got into, and so I thought maybe him as a number 2 or Ezra Bridger from Rebels.
Okay.
As my 3rd, because they kind of set that up almost with having Ahsoka and her talking about Thrawn, because the last time we saw Ahsoka, she went searching for Ezra and Thrawn, who went off into hyperspace and nobody knows where they went.
Yeah, see, I didn't see any of the Clone Wars, but I've heard people talking about Ezra and some other character that were still around, but I thought that's who it might have been in that X-Wing. But then I saw the green lightsaber and like the dark cloak. I'm like, okay, that's Luke.
Right.
Yeah, and then you hear like the music playing and stuff. That when he finally shows up, that was like goosebumps. But it's like everyone was like crying. I'm like, a lot of people were saying that they were crying. I know you said you were crying for it.
Oh yeah. When Grogu touched Din's face, I was like, tears rolling down.
Yeah, Chris and I looked like, what's gonna happen with Grogu now? Yeah. And then that end credit scene was something too, because I was like, okay, we don't see any artwork, so I'm like, we better watch it, because I didn't remember from last season if they had an end credit scene at all, which I don't think they did.
I don't think they did either. I was honestly like, me and the other 2 barbers were just like jammering on talking about what we just saw, and normally we just turn it off and put something else on right away, but we were talking about it. And next thing I know, that popped up, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so glad we didn't skip over this, because I didn't know that was going to be a thing." So
yeah. But then, seeing the 2 moons, and then which Bib Fortuna, I guess, survived. I guess that was
I'm like, okay, he wasn't on the barge then, I guess.
Did we? I mean, I thought we saw him, but I guess I was reading Wikipedia, and I guess he escaped, and then he goes and takes over the business.
I don't remember seeing him on the barge.
I don't remember either. I rewatched that scene today, and I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, so I guess he was all fat and looking like Jabba and to get shot. Yeah. So, but I'm like, well, what's going to happen with the next season, though? Is it going to skip over the Mandalorian, and this is going to be the Mandalorian season 3, is the book of Boba Fett, because it's based on chapters, people were saying, I guess? Right.
That's what I was thinking, because everything is chapters, and I was like, it's kind of almost like in the Bible, where it's like, all right, now it's like the book of Matthew or whatever. Yeah. Like, now it's going to be a different story. Well, but it's probably going to come back to the other thing.
If it was the book of Boba Fett, I think I would have read the Bible.
That's one of the ones that the Vatican pulled out in the 60s. That one, and then the one about Jesus getting married.
Yeah, so that was, going back to the first episode, which I didn't know if Boba was gonna show up or not, but because I saw it trending, so I'm like, okay, at least, and then I saw like the armor and then Timothy Oliphant wearing it. I'm like, oh, this is what it is. I'm like, well, what happened to it? How did he get it? You know, and it was that whole episode was kind of fun with the sand people and that big sandworm thing. But right at the end, and you see Tamara Morrison. That's how you pronounce his name. I'm so bad with names.
The clone
guy. So that was really like, wait, what? Like, that's canon. I guess he's alive now. Which I'm like, I was rewatching that scene. I'm like, how the fuck did he get out of that? But I guess they showed it in the episode where he got out of that big giant worm thing with the rocket. So I guess that's how he gets.
Yeah, I would assume. Well, because they said that, so the Krayt Dragon was living in an old Sarlacc pit. They said it ate the Sarlacc.
Oh.
To like live in there. So like, who knows? Maybe the thing came at the Sarlacc shortly after Boba was in there and ripped it open, and he was like, woohoo, and flew out. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm like wondering, like, well, if you get swollen or eaten by that thing, and then you're digested over 1,000 years, like, is it just like nonstop pain, or is it like you're just kind of sitting here like, all right?
I think eventually you just die of starvation or pain, and then the rest of the time it's just slow digestion.
I guess we'll find out in the book of Boba Fett.
They would be dumb not to make that story,
I don't wonder how George Lucas feels about all of this. Like, I just like. I think I read a quote. He's like, "Oh, how him handing off all of this stuff to Disney was very painful." But I'm like, "Oh, I'm sure the billions of dollars were probably dried your tears off a little bit."
Drying your tears with $100 bills, Georgie. You're fine.
Yeah.
And like, dude, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, what a team, man!
Yeah,
like,
who would have thought?
Hand them the keys. Just give them the keys. It's in good hands.
Yeah, I mean, Jon Favreau, in a way, he paved the way for Marvel too. He directed Iron Man. But yeah, those
and I
two.
think they've done more to unify the fan base than anybody has.
And kind of in a way retconning some things and making things canon. So let's get into the last episode again, because it's like, okay, so now Luke is going to take and train Grogu, and there's only two outcomes, I would think. Either he goes and leaves for being bad student, or he gets fucking killed by Kylo Ren at the end. So it's like, all right, here you go, JJ and Rian Johnson.
Dark future there, right? Like, but I'm super curious to see if we're gonna get to see like little Grogu playing with little Ben Solo at some point, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, you're fucking throw a rock at him and then big
I don't
Jedi
want to
fight.
see him burning in that fucking temple fire, I'll tell you that.
Coming to Disney Plus is Jedi Academy with Grogu and young Ben Solo.
It'll be like an animated show.
Yeah, and it'll be like Zach Morris as a Jedi.
I would totally watch it. I mean,
like Saved by the Bell, but it's like Jedi. But yeah, so I'm kind of curious to see. I there was like rumblings going on behind the scenes of like Pedro Pascal like leaving halfway through the show because he wanted the season because he wanted to show his face, and then there was other drama. So I'm wondering if there maybe, I mean, it seems like he's okay with it now. But I'm wondering if they're just gonna skip over that storyline and let Grogu do his training and then come back to the next in 2022.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what it kind of seems like it's going to.
Fast forward a little bit to see Grogu, older and more capable.
I'm still not sold on that name though. It's still he's still baby, still baby Yoda to me.
My first initial prediction back in the day was Book. I don't know why I thought Book. And my buddy was like, Book? And I'm like Book, but with long O, so like Book.
Book.
And he was like, the other day, he goes, dude, could you imagine if he became Book Skywalker? And I was like, see? Like,
I was thinking like a Y name because they had Yoda and Yaddle or
Yaddle, yeah.
Yaddle.
We tried to erase Yaddle, but we remember.
Here's Yiddish.
She's like, "Oh, Yoda, you're such a mashugana."
Yeah. So after the second episode, it was kind of it was kind of like a filler episode, or was it the spider episode? Was the second
Spider.
one?
That was the second one, right?
Yeah, got it. I didn't like that. Was the only one I didn't really care for as much because it was like
creepy.
Yeah, it was like a kind
like
of
that
a horror
one had
movie.
me like on the edge. I was like, "Ooh, no!" Like
there's a lot of spiders.
And we saw spiders like that in the Rebels series. I don't know if they were the same species, whatever, but something pretty similar, you know. But to see it like fleshed out was.
Yeah, and the director who did Ant-Man did that episode and the last episode, Peyton Reed. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense, you know, I guess ants and spiders, but insects.
Yeah.
But then the third episode was like a really good one because that introduced Bo-Katan. Yeah, and those Mandalorians, and that was badass.
I have to watch, I haven't watched the final season of Clone Wars that just came out this year. Like season 7. I didn't get into that yet. I kind of went back in Clone Wars because I forgot a lot, so I started watching it from season 3. So I'm like halfway through season 4 of that now. So I'm just going to wait until I catch up to it and watch it. Because I know Bo-Katan figures into that a bit. Okay. Like the Darksaber or something, that stuff too. Yeah. Yeah, man, the Darksaber. That thing is awesome. Yeah. I'm just thinking like all the cosplay between all the Mandalore and like New York Comic Con's gonna be pretty good next time there is, because like all those Mandalorian type costumes and all the stuff that popped up in this season. Yeah, but I think it was called the Harris, I guess was what the episode was called. But yeah, the little frog lady and with the eggs, and everyone's getting pissed off at Grogu eating all the eggs. I'm like, well, the guy's hungry, and you know, like. Yeah, he's got to eat. Like people wanted to cancel the show because he ate a couple of frog eggs. It's like he doesn't know. They're like that's genocide. I'm like, he's a fucking toddler. He's just doing what kids they put shit in their mouth. Yeah, that's what they do. And people are like, oh my god, it's genocide. I'm like, the Empire blew up the entire fucking planet of Alderaan. The whole thing is gone. Yeah. I'm like, these are obviously people that don't have kids. I'm like, I've seen my kid lick wall like AC grates, pigeon shit stoops in Washington Square Park, and he turned out fine. Kids do, you know? Yeah. If there's an egg, it's protein. They're gonna eat it. They're probably delicious. Yeah, and there was rumors that Rosario Dawson was going to be Ahsoka Tano. Yeah. Which I don't like. I saw maybe 4 or 5 episodes of Clone Wars before Mandalorian showed up. So Connor and I were kind of watching it, but I'm just like, I've never really been a fan of the animation style of it. So it's I want to get through it just to see some of the storylines since it's kind of related now. Yeah. But I loved that episode. I was like, I need to watch this immediately over again because it was like she just knocked it out of the park. And then I'm like, they'll be batshit crazy if they don't give her a spinoff, and sure enough, they do. So, really looking forward to that. I mean, you know, the entire Clone Wars series was pretty much an Ahsoka spinoff, but like, hey, let's get another one. Wasn't it with Anakin though, or eventually? There was a lot of Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka back and forth, you know. It was good. Yeah. I mean, it was good so far. Like I said, I haven't finished the whole thing yet, but
what about Rebels?
I watched Rebels. Initially I didn't like the animation style on Rebels. I thought it was like really weird. Yeah. But once I started to really pay attention to the story, I kind of forgot all about the animation. That's actually a really, really well-written show. Did Filoni do that one too? What's that? Did Filoni do that one too? I mean, probably. I don't know for sure. Yeah. But, I mean, most likely. Yeah, I mean, with Dave Filoni, I mean, I guess he was like George Lucas's Padawan in a way, I guess, is why why he's so. And then having Jon Favreau be there too, it kind of just
those two are just awesome together, and hopefully they never depart or anything.
It's
or
Star Wars fans with Disney's budget, you know?
Yeah. And just
the
way that they make the show is great, because they don't even need to go anywhere.
Yeah, I watched that I didn't finish that yet either, but that behind the scenes documentary about it.
Gallery on Disney Plus. Yeah,
that entire room that they built that's all screens is like, oh my God, that's amazing.
That's
like,
game changing stuff. Yeah, because it's like they don't need to go to Africa to film just the desert scenes or Arizona.
Right. You can make anything you want in there.
Yeah.
And they were showing how it reacts in real time according to the camera. So it's like if the camera moves this way, the screen moves that way, kind of thing.
And
like
the light, yeah.
Nuts. I mean, you have a little bit of photography background, like just think of that from like where we were. Like,
it's like doing the light metering part, but
yeah,
which I always hated. Yeah. I'm trying to think. And then the episode afterwards with Ahsoka was when Boba Fett showed up with Fennec on Slave One, and that was an awesome episode too. Yeah. Because he got and then Boba gets that gear, which they seemed like he cleaned up since the first, or did the Mandalorian clean it up? Because it looked kind of shiny and new.
Chewed up and like partially digested or whatever, and then I think it was the episode where they picked up Bill Burr.
Okay.
That he gave it a fresh paint job. Okay.
It was kind of funny. I was joking. I'm like, oh, bad dad bod Boba. But hey, he was kicking ass, and that's what everyone wanted to see.
Awesome. Yeah. I don't know. He probably didn't do the stunts or the fighting or whatever.
I mean, Pedro Pascal doesn't do the stunts either.
Yeah, I mean, it looked awesome. Boba Fett looked like a man out for blood. It was great. I was like, this is everything I've dreamed of since I was 4 years old.
Yeah, because when you think about it, Razor Glass too, Jeremy Bulloch, who passed away this week too. Original original Boba Fett bounty hunter. I can't. It looks kind of weird with when he's wearing that the black cloak thing over the armor. So I'm hoping they kind of go back to more of the original outfit in a way. I don't know.
Digging the whole sand person underneath thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool with the little staff thing he had too, when he was just annihilating stormtroopers.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was great.
And seeing the ship more in action too was just really great. Just in the final episode.
I was waiting the whole time for one of those seismic charges that he dropped on Obi-Wan.
Oh, Django, yeah.
Yeah. Those things are cool, man. I remember being in the theater when that went off, and it was just like, boom! The audience is deaf
now. Yeah, and I really liked, and I had a feeling that when Fennec was she got shot or something, she was laying around, and you see that cliffhanger. I totally forgot about that until they showed the intro.
Here's the spurs jiggling,
What is?
When that person walks up to Fennec's body.
Oh.
You're not quite sure who it is. You just hear spurs jingling.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I was like, Boba Fett? Is that friggin' Boba Fett?
Yeah, people were kind of assuming that.
Timothy Oliphant's character, I was like, oh no, it must have been him.
Yeah, and I just totally forgot about that character, but she ended up being a great character too. So far, I mean, it seems like, I mean, she was good. She was great on Agents and Shield, and Mulan. I guess she did the voice for Mulan, and but yeah, it was kind of cool to see her and Cara Dune and Bo-Katan and other just annihilating an entire ship at stormtroopers. Yeah. Girl power.
That was a big girl power moment for the show. My daughters were loving that scene.
Oh yeah.
I was like, look at these badass girls just annihilating everything. It was so cool.
Yeah, that was it was kind of reminded me of Avengers Endgame when all the girls, the female superheroes at the end, but and then the rest, and then let's talk about the Bill Burr episode, because I know we were talking, in text to how you usually hate him and want to punch him in the face, but
yeah, I always just thought my God, that guy's got a punchable face. I don't know what it is about him, and the Prison Break episode of The Mandalorian I thought was probably the weakest one of that season.
I hated that one, the first season, because of the blinking red lights and my condition. I'm like, I don't.
Oh, well, yeah, that doesn't help either.
Yeah, they're like, and Connor's like, Daddy, blinking lights. I'm like, I know, I'm like, I gotta squint.
Yeah, but like normally, like I don't like Bill Burr. Like I'm just like,
I think he's one of the best stand-up comedians.
I'll give you something in a minute. So like, I hated him in that first season episode. I was like, oh god, they couldn't have gotten anybody else but this guy. And he curses
or something. He says ass or something. That kind of like, he kind of takes you out.
Like, his acting in that second season episode, I was like, I'm not mad at him right now. Like he was really, really good.
It was more grounded. Though he did mention TPS report, which I'm like, come on.
I thought that. I was like, really TPS reports, okay. Yeah. But I went back and I watched like some of his stand-up, and I was like, this guy's actually really funny. But he's just such a dick, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
But I think that's like why I simultaneously don't like him, but I think I simultaneously could be best friends with him. You know?
I'm surprised you don't like him, because I feel like you guys kind of in a way have similar sense of humor. Yeah. And I mean, I didn't like his appearance. He was on SNL recently, and I actually didn't think he was that good. I mean, there were some funny things, but it was like the wrong crowd. Like, it was just crickets when he was doing like monologue, and I was like, ooh, you know, could be rough. But yeah, it was good. I didn't think he was gonna make it out alive for that episode. So I'm sure he'll pop up again.
Tense, like really tense moment at the table there when he was like coming to have a drink and talking about Operation Cinder, and like, man,
how the fuck do you remember the name?
Operation Cinder is a big thing in Star Wars Battlefront 2, the video game.
Oh, okay.
So that's like you play through it basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I'm into all of it. Let's just say that.
I want to really hook up my Nintendo 64 and play Rogue Squadron. Like, I still have it, and I'm just, I'm like, man, if I bet I don't know how it'll look on my TV though. It's like 65-inch 4K TV.
I don't know if that'll hook up to something like that. I guess it will.
I'm hoping to do like some type of NES classic kind of thing, but do it for Nintendo 64. But yeah, that episode was it was a short one, but it was still kind of like, it was kind of a filler, but it was kind of moving some piece. And that's kind of one of my nitpicks about the show. It feels like a video game where it's like, the princess is in another castle, and here's a mission you got to do. Well, I need to find information. Well, first you got to shovel my driveway.
So I saw like a fan-made thing on Instagram where the guy like has a bucket on his head and he's like, I need milk for the child. And they're like, well, first you have to go kill the wild whatever beast, you know? And then he's like, okay, I killed it. Where's the milk? And they're like, oh, well, the milk is on this planet, you know? Like,
yeah.
Funny. But very much like, you know, video game side quests.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes it's like
you're moving the story along, and then you meet this guy, and he's like, help my cat.
Okay, I'll do it if you can give me this. It's like, move the story along. What's the actor's name? Is it the guy that plays Moss Gideon? John? Is it Giancarlo Esposito? I forget how to pronounce his first name. I'm terrible with pronouncing names. I'm like reading books with Connor at bed every night, and I'm like, we were reading 101 Dalmatians, and I was like, Perdita. I couldn't figure out the word, so I was like going on YouTube on how to pronounce the name because I forgot. Yeah. I'm like, I'm suck at pronunciations, but I'm like, he's been excellent. I mean, he's been excellent in a lot of stuff he's been doing with Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, and but it's very fitting, and it's kind of, and like he was just kind of, he knew what he was doing when he had the Darksabers, like, here, take it, go ahead, and then he casually lost, you know, kind of in a way, which I'm curious to see what will happen with that. I guess it's like, why can't he just like, okay, we're gonna have a duel, okay, don't kill me, here you go, fight me.
Yeah, well, there's no honor, you know, you gotta win it by combat. It's like the Elder Wand of the Star Wars world.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So
I really don't know what's going to happen as far as the Empire's still out there. Boss Gideon's still alive. I mean, will Boba Fett still have that storyline be tied in, or will this book of Boba Fett be the end of Boba Fett and it'll just be that one little section? Who knows? Yeah, there's so much, and then the Thrawn stuff. Will that even be introduced, or will that be with Ahsoka Tano stuff? And will they not even have Thrawn? And, it's like part of the whole reason why the Mandalorian is been winning people over is because it's these small. It feels smaller. It's in the Star Wars galaxy universe, but it's like then they bring in Luke Skywalker, and it's like, okay, so now it's related again to Skywalker's again, and it's like you kind of like the Western aspect of it, like the Westerns and like cowboy movie kind of aspect of it, where it's kind of just laid back and more grounded in a sci-fi way.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it's totally a Western.
Yeah, but it's like does it really need to include Jedi in it all the time? That's why I'm kind of hoping that some of these spin-offs that they're announcing or movies that they don't really include the Jedi in it too much, or maybe it's like some other part of the world.
Yeah, well, there's that one that I don't know his name, like Taikiki Wakiki Wahiki.
It's Taika Waititi. Yeah, that's
that guy.
Yeah, he's directing a movie. Yeah, and I think that'll be awesome because
I mean, his episode in the Mandalorian was amazing, and he played Zero, the droid too, right?
IG-88 or IG one of the other.
Or IG-11. He was IG-11.
Yeah, the other robot was
I forget. He was one of
the other one was Richard Ayoade from IT Crowd. I think I said his name right.
Oh, he was the guy that was Zero. Okay, so
he was the one that was with the Bill Burr episode.
IG-11, right? Okay, so
yeah,
his one that he's directing is like the logo popped up behind him, I guess, at a press conference or whatever.
It was the Investors.
It was all chiseled out of stone.
Yeah, it was Investors Day last week or so. Yeah, I was going to go on that towards the end. Yeah.
So I've been digging into that a little bit, and people are saying that it's supposed to be like set, 26,000 years before A New Hope. And like one of the possible titles that was floating around was like Dawn of the Jedi. So that would be kind of cool to see where that all started, because then there's like, if you look into like the old Legends stuff, they started out with they called them proto sabers. They were a lightsaber, but it was tethered by a cable to like a backpack because they didn't have a power source strong enough yet to.
So Ghostbusters.
Basically, yeah. Basically, it was Ghostbusters lightsabers.
The flowers
so we
are
might
still
even
standing.
see that brought to life.
Well, they only like they didn't for the Investor Day. They announced it as like a movie, but they haven't announced it as a trilogy. Which I'm hoping that if they just kind of do some of these movies, see what the reaction is, and then announce it to do it. Like some of these like planned trilogies, it kind of takes away some of the suspense. Like, okay, well, these characters are probably just going to survive 3 movies at least. Right. It's like I wish they would just and then we're gonna do another movie. All right, we'll do another movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about. So, what were some of your favorite moments of the season? Or season 2?
I've had a lot.
I know. I actually did research. I actually have a list.
Really? God, some of my favorite moments. Definitely seeing a crate dragon fleshed out, because that was like the skeleton that 3PO and R2 roll by in A New Hope out in the desert.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so that's like cool to see that thing alive.
And I think it was fucking horrifying.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's a favorite moment, but certainly a memorable moment was watching the friggin' Razor Crest get obliterated.
Oh, yeah, pour one out for that one.
I really like that ship.
Oh, yeah, my wonder was going to fly in.
My shitty car, the Razor Crust.
I wonder what Mandalorian's going to fly in now. I guess That'd be great if they could do like a copy of Slave 1 and make it like Slave 2.
Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo.
Slave 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, that joke never gets old.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Boba Fett and then seeing the armor, like, and then seeing Boba Fett at the end was
absolutely,
that was kind of shocking. Bo-Katan, that stuff when all of a sudden they rescue Mandalorian, and I love the sound of the score from Ludwig Göransson, I think Göransson, but Ludwig, yeah, like it had like a really cool like motif to their style. Yeah, so I was like, so you can hear that in their scores on Spotify and other places. But yeah, that was like, I liked seeing that episode, and then seeing them attack like that ship for that episode. That was really kind of memorable for me.
Yeah.
And then the opening scene with Ahsoka, I mean, with the two lights.
Oh God, yeah.
It was just a beautiful artwork too, just like how gray-greenish it looked with the white lightsabers. Yeah, that was just badass. And then that entire episode was just excellent. That was definitely one of my favorites of the first two seasons.
That was filmed really beautifully, especially that fight scene between Ahsoka and the
other lady. I forget
where she was.
But Michael Biehn was in that episode too, so that was kind of cool. I didn't recognize him at first. I was like, oh shit, he got old. Or drugs, or I don't know.
That was straight out of like an old samurai movie though, with like cherry blossom trees and it was beautiful.
Yeah, seeing people getting like standing up and being prisoner and those electric kind of things, I'm like, man, that's gotta suck. It's almost like crucifixions in a way.
That's a place to live, but man, Ahsoka was awesome. Like Rosario Dawson really, really did well, and I know a lot of people were like hating on her because like, the one who did the voice in the Clone Wars should have done her, but I'm like, I don't think they could have picked a better likeness. I think she just looks like Ahsoka would.
Yeah.
Especially if you watched Rebels, like Ahsoka was closer to that age in Rebels.
Oh, okay.
Like she looks exactly like her, like just needs to face things.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I think that's coming out in 2022, 23. I think, and then
there's a lot coming out.
Yeah, and then finding out the name of Grogu too. Like Chris and I, we both kind of like, wait, what? That's his name? Like,
yeah.
What the fuck is Grogu? Like, yeah, I'm like, all right, I'm like,
what the fuck is Chewbacca? Like, it's all weird.
I wonder who named it. It was like probably like Filoni or Favreau, like asked one of their kids, like, all right, what should we name him? Grogu.
That's exactly what I said, because remember, that's how they came up with the name Gungan, was George Lucas's baby boy was like Gungan every time he saw a bulldozer. So they named them Gungans.
Every time I used to do the food processor in my sink, I always I wonder if this is where George Lucas got the idea for the Sarlacc pit.
Well, they brought the ice cream maker into the forefront of this series, the old Kemptono.
Oh. I don't know what that is.
Well, the first time it showed up was in Empire, when they were running away from Cloud City. This guy was carrying an ice cream maker.
Oh, that guy.
And people dress up like him as Comic-Con and stuff.
Oh,
like
right. I think, okay, now I know what you're talking about. Okay.
So they finally took it was like an old 70s ice cream maker machine. They turned it into like a safe for valuables and named it after a YouTube video. Because it was like the name, they got the name from this video of a little baby trying to say ice cream. And they're like, say ice. And the baby's like, ice. Say cream. And then they're like, say ice cream. The baby's like, Kemptono. And that's how they took the name for that thing. So they named it.
Oh, I don't know any of this. Wow. All right.
I have free time on my hands.
Did you notice the guy that was on the crew that was in when Cara Dune and Carl Weathers?
Jeans guy.
The jeans guy. Yeah, I didn't see it. Then I saw the photo, and then I guess they digitized him out of it. But I'm like, they should have kept it in.
A day or two, he was gone.
That's like when the stormtrooper in A New Hope, when he's walking and bumps his head on the door.
Yeah. Someone out there is definitely, if they haven't already, someone's going to make a collectible action figure of Jeans guy.
I think there is one already. I thought I saw a photo of it, like one of the Star Wars casings and stuff.
I will have to buy it.
I'm sure there's shirts of it too. Yeah, I mentioned Boba Fett's Slave One. I'm like, that was a good scene. And then obviously the green lightsaber showing up, and then Luke Skywalker. That was obviously a great moment. And then a sad moment of Grogu and the Mandalorian saying goodbye for now.
Yeah,
takes his helmet off.
They're really good.
I guess Pedro Pascal's like, fuck this helmet. I'm an actor. Gotta see my face. I'm not a voiceover actor.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he is. I guess he's he's in. He plays the villain in not Willy Wonka. Oh, Wonder Woman. WW.
I'll give you a pass on the double W's.
Yeah, he plays. Plays what's the guy in Willy Wonka? The
Slugworth.
Slugworth. He's just updated version of Slugworth. Yeah. So I guess that comes out on Christmas Day. Wonder Woman on HBO Max, which I have, so I'll watch that. But yeah, I guess he plays an over the top villain for that. So I'll see how he's probably like so hindered on that helmet that he's just gonna do something so over the top, just
stretch his face out a lot while he talks.
Yeah. So I mean, did you have any complaints for this season? I mean, we kind of talked about like the structure of the show a little bit, and the spider episode we kind of weren't a fan of, but and the CGI, of course, of Luke.
Yeah, I mean, if the worst thing all season was like a weird bit of CGI on Luke's face, like, I'm so good with that.
Yeah, I mean, at least it was an entire episode. Yeah,
really was building and getting better and better and better. I didn't feel like in the first season, I felt like there was a couple of like just like doldrum spots.
Yeah,
like the Prison Break episode and the Gina Carano's first episode she was in, where they went to like the shrimp farm.
Oh, right.
That was like a little bit of a lull in the action.
I did like seeing like the AT-ST walkers, you know.
Yeah, it was cool, but I mean, it was definitely a slower episode and like a pause in the story, kind of.
Well, I think it was needed because of just a little bit of character development, a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah. But
this season just seemed to go like just a crescendo of just constantly getting better every episode.
And it almost felt like Dave Filoni and Favreau playing with all of their Star Wars toys. Like, okay, we're bringing in this person now. We're bringing in fun.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like, you can picture, like, you know, when Ahsoka's doing her thing, Dave Filoni's in the stands like, you're doing so great, sweetie. Like, that's like his kid, you know?
Like, dark helmet. Like, ooh. Like, we're not watching you play your toys again.
Surprise! It's Lando in disguise.
So Lando, I guess we can. That's a good segue. We could talk about all the shows that were announced and movies that are coming to Disney Plus. So I guess there's going to be doing a Lando limited edition or limited event kind of series. So it's probably like just a mini movie.
Yeah.
I don't know when that's taking place, when it is. I mean, Billy D. Williams is up there in age. So, I mean, I don't know if he's in it at all.
It's going to be Glover. He's the one who's doing it. Yep.
Well, he was one of the best things about Solo.
He was fantastic.
Yeah.
He was like so good in Solo.
That's a movie that gets better each time you watch it, I think.
Dude, I loved it. People tell me they think it's the worst one, and I'm like, you're crazy. It's so good.
The first time I watched it, I'm like, it was fun. It was just really dark. Like, not dark in the sense of, it was just like, it was hard to see like in a movie theater, because it was like the one planet's like all ashy gray but yeah, there was like, I just loved lots of parts of it. It was great seeing Woody Harrelson in the Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, Connor, the one character that Connor liked out of that was Lady Proxima, the little worm-like lady. I'm like, why do you like these this like minor character? He's like, this is the one with Lady Proxima. And I'm like,
you just made that noise with your mouth.
I'm like, oh, we have the Star Wars encyclopedia, so we have like all the characters. So I was like, oh, there's Lady Proxima. Yeah. So it's like go through all these random characters that are just like one scene, but they have a whole thing about them for some reason.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But hey, I love it. He's 5 years old and loves Star Wars, and that's how old I was when I saw Return of the Jedi in the movie theater opening weekend. So it's.
That was like
good age.
1983. I was 4 years old.
Did you see it in the theater then, or were you too young then?
I saw it in the theater, yeah.
Oh, so you okay? So, yeah, so that was like one of my early memories of going to the movie theater. And I remember seeing Star Wars, Darth Vader, and like a stormtrooper walk down the aisle, and I got all scared.
Yeah,
because I was like 5. I'm like, oh, he's here. And then it's just like at this. That I always talk about it, but just that iconic scene of just Vader throwing Emperor down that chute, and the entire theater just clapping and cheering, and you still get goosebumps talking about it. Yeah, and then fucking George Lucas had to ruin it in the special edition, but no, you didn't need to have fucking him say no. Just have him just look, he's fucking up my kid. Okay, toss down.
Oh my God, where do I have it? Do I have it right over here? Do I have it handy? 1 second, wait.
All right.
So, I own a Holy Grail. It is the original, untouched VHS. Yeah.
The blue one. Yeah, blue, purple, red. Is that full screen or widescreen?
This is probably full screen.
I don't remember having that. I remember having the widescreen at some point that was like the gold one of VHS.
Yeah, this is full screen. This is before the special edition. So this is the original uncut OG Star Wars.
See, it's like I like some of the things that they did for the special edition movies when they came out in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Like adding certain things, cleaning it up. I still hate that they removed Jeremy Bullock's voice. And I mean, I guess it makes sense of it now in the overall story and scheme of things, right. But it's still like, it's like pissing on the actors at work in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and David Prowse, passed away. It's like all the OG crew are just dropping. It sucks.
Yeah. There's what, 2 now? That's it.
2 what?
Right. Hamill and Harrison Ford.
Well, James Earl Jones. I mean, he's up like 90 or 89. Yeah. Which I'm wondering. So I mean, they're gonna be doing an Obi-Wan series, which has been in the works for a while. I think they start filming in March, which I can't wait for that because I mean that was one of the best things about the prequels was Ewan McGregor.
It's gonna be to see him back in that role. It's gonna be super cool.
Yeah, and then they announced at the Investor Day that Hayden Christensen's coming back, whether or not you liked him or not, as Darth Vader or not.
That's awesome.
It's still cool. I mean, I don't know if it's like him in the suit and that's it, or if he's actually going to act.
I wonder if they're going to do any kind of helmet off stuff,
Yeah, I mean, I guess they do show him kind of in Rogue One and Emperor. Yeah.
Rogue One, I was like, oh, he takes everything off. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I love that movie, Rogue One, for some reason. Yeah, it's just like watching it and just seeing how everything, and it's like as soon as it ends, you just want to watch A New Hope.
Yeah. I was cutting the guy's hair the one day, and he was telling me how he hated Rogue One, and I'm like, what? Like,
get the fuck out!
Like, how could you hate Rogue One? Like, he's like, oh, I don't know. It just seems kind of like
fan service or something.
He said, like, we have all this technology, and they have to, like, climb up a tower with a friggin' tape recorder and, like, stick it in a thing. They can't just, like... I'm like, I don't know, man. The planet had bad Wi-Fi. It was... I don't know.
They didn't have Wi-Fi there. They didn't have 4 or 5G. 5,000G. But, and then they're going to be doing Cassian Andor series. I don't know if season or just... But, so, I mean, I guess that's coming out in 2 years, I think.
They're filming that now, right? I
think so, yeah, because they showed like a little kind of clip of it.
Yeah.
I hate so I watched like most of the Investor Day stuff, and I hate how they show all the juicy stuff to the investors, and then they block out the time. So I was like, 2 minutes. It's like, oh, come on, just show us.
Yeah.
But it had they announced some of the cast. Was it Stellar Skarsgård or whatever his name? That guy is going to be in that series too.
Oh, the guy that played It?
No, that's his son.
Okay.
That was his son, but his father is going to be the guy that was Bootstrap Bill in Pirates.
Oh, okay.
That guy. Is it Stellard Skarsgård? Yeah. And then they got the Ahsoka Tano. Then they got Rangers of the New Republic, which seems like it's based on Dave Filoni's character and the other guy. That's where the Rangers, the rebellion. So it almost feels like in a way it's like cops in the galaxy. That'd be great if they had like
chips.
Or like chips, yeah.
Punching down on X-wings instead of motorcycles.
See, I mean, that's what I was talking about. Like, it's like those kind of things where it's more just about certain characters that aren't Jedi or Sith or, it's like just the other people. And that's why I like Rogue One so much, is because it's about the other people. Like, yeah.
Like, there's totally janitors and stuff, still. Like, someone cleans the toilets.
I'm waiting for that one. I'm waiting for Janitors of the Death Star coming to Disney+. Lobot, the series.
Like, someone's mopping the floor somewhere.
Suckus or what? Yuckus, whatever. One of the bounty hunter guys.
Maybe they had Roomba droids or something, like, why not?
Roomba droids. And then they announced the Bad Batch, which I guess Fennec's character is going to be in that one.
Okay.
But I guess it's another animated series kind of tying in with Rebels.
Well,
I'm just not a fan of the animation style for some reason. I don't know. It looks too kiddie to me, and that's why I never watched it, because I thought it might have been. But then I have friends like, well, you should watch it.
There's a lot of really good storyline in it. There is.
Yeah.
But I get it. The animation is weird.
Yeah.
Like, things are just strangely proportioned and like
voices. The different voices. It's.
Yeah.
That's why it's like I can't watch new Looney Tunes. Yes. Yeah, it's like I can't watch new Looney Tunes because it just doesn't sound like Mel Blanc.
Yeah, right.
And then they have, I guess it's gonna be taking place during the High Republic era, which is like the Acolyte or something.
Yeah. I'm hoping that that's gonna be like something about kind of like Darth Plagueis maybe, or
the guy before the Emperor.
About it's supposed to be like how the dark side started to rise, kind of thing. So.
Yeah, that should be interesting. And then I guess they're going to do a droid story, which is going to be about the droids, C-3PO and R2-D2. And I think that's supposed to be live. I think it's going to be live action.
Oh, okay. I thought that was going to be animated for some reason.
That's what I assumed too, but I think it's supposed to be. I mean, maybe, I don't know. It was, the details were kind of vague. Either way, we're getting there. Yeah. And then they're doing an anime series called Visions or something. I don't know anything about that, but.
Oh, yeah, I didn't look into that one. I know it was going to be like fan-created content or something.
Right, the fan stuff. But I'm not a fan of anime, the animation style for that, so I probably won't watch that.
Yeah.
And then the Rogue Squadron movie, that's actually a movie that's not going to be on Disney+, directed by Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins. Yeah. So that should be kind of cool.
I heard about that. I saw a little clip where she was talking about her father being a fighter pilot, and she grew up on like a base and would watch them do their formations and stuff, and she always kind of wanted to make a fighter pilot movie. She was just kind of waiting for the right script, and I was like, wow, all right, like I feel good about that.
Yeah, because I'm like, how is this? Is it similar? Is it going to be similar to the Rangers of the New Republic, or is this something that takes place? The Rogue Squadron is during the original trilogy.
Top Gun in space with like young Wedge Antilles.
Man, I wish Wedge was in all of the new trilogy. I was like, just seeing him just for a cameo. I was like, Wedge for Rise of Skywalker. I was kind of bummed, but Ewan's uncle.
That guy's a survivor.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny how he goes from like the New Hope, but he's got like an American accent, and then the next two movies, like, wait, he's British.
Yeah, whoa, that's not him. Great shot, Jansen.
Jensen, yeah. I always thought it was Johnson for so many years. I was like, nice shot, Johnson. And it's like Jensen.
I'll walk around the house saying that for no reason. My kids are like, who's Jansen?
And then Porkins, yeah. That Porkins needs a series.
Old Jack Porkins. Like, you couldn't give the fat guy a cool name. Come on. All right, fat pilot, you're Porkins.
Fatty McFatty.
Cool. This is Scotland. Our greatest pilot, Fatty McFatass. Porkins. Come on.
I love Family Guy when they do all the Star Wars and have Porkins. It's like he's like as big as the ship. It's like, oh jeez. I need to rewatch those again. I almost wish the Family Guy would redo the new trilogy or the prequels and do it like the way their style of it, because I have to watch those at least like twice a year, like the Family Guy original trilogy stuff.
Yeah, we just watched too long ago some of the Robot Chicken Star Wars ones.
Oh yeah, which is why they always poke fun of each other. Because Seth Green's like, Robot Chicken did it.
Yeah.
But I'm still kind of curious about if Rian Johnson still has, because he was originally supposed to be doing a new trilogy, but that wasn't really announced during this Investors Day.
Yeah, they didn't say anything about that.
So I'm wondering if that was scrapped or not. People were like, fuck this guy, because like, I don't know, it's like at one point I like Last Jedi for some of the things, and then the other things I don't like. So I'm kind of, it's such a mixed movie for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like I wish kind of JJ just kind of directed all three. Like I think it would have felt more like one story as opposed to like it really felt broken up there in the middle. Like it's different if like, I mean, I'll be fine if he's directing a movie still or directing 3 movies, but at least it'll be that's his story and that's his style.
Right.
Because I feel like in a way he kind of fucked up some of the characters. Like I think with Luke, it was not what I was expecting.
Right.
And I'm kind of the way he went out, which was kind of like, it's just like, what, just from all that energy, he just floats away from being on another planet, which is, it's impressive, but like he couldn't stick around for another one alive.
Yeah.
But I guess probably the overall story was supposed to be about Princess Leia being the one, and then they had to kind of change it around when Carrie Fisher died.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was kind of like a nice scene to see in Rise of Skywalker, like seeing her training and have Carrie Fisher's daughter be Princess Leia, which I kind of want to see a Princess Leia story, and I want it to be with the girl from Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things, because she looks exactly like.
That would be really cool, like a young Princess Leia, like
on Alderaan,
going on like secret spy missions and.
Yeah, I think that would be such a coup to get. Or if they're going to do a Luke Skywalker series or something else and have Sebastian Stan, since he's part of the Marvel Disney crew, you could just bring him over. He looks like it. Looks like him.
Yeah. I would be so good right now if they just moved away from Skywalkers completely and just explored something in the world,
There's got to be other Jedi out there.
Go to the Old Republic. Go to, like, I don't know, anywhere else in that time era, like just bounce around a bit to explore something.
Well, that's what people were assuming, that Rian Johnson's new trilogy was going to be about the broom boy kid that he just like lifted up at the end kind of thing. But
right.
I mean, there's got to be other Jedi out there that survive the fallout, Order 66.
Yeah.
Like even old ones. Yeah, so I think, so any other thoughts about Star Wars in general? I mean, I guess we could talk a little bit about, just real quick, about your trip to Galaxy's Edge last year. We both went. We didn't get to talk about that last year. So
it was awesome. I mean, it was like truly immersive. Like when you get in that park, you don't see any other part of Disney. They have these mountains that just are in the right spots to block things, and you just feel in it from the minute you walk through the gate. You're like hearing things in the bushes, and like you're just surrounded. It's awesome.
I was like tying my Yeah, I was like tying my shoe, and I'm hearing ships overhead, and I kept like looking up, thinking there was like spaceships flying over me.
It's so cool. It's so cool. And I mean, I did lots there. I built a lightsaber.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't get to do that because it's expensive.
Super fun.
Expensive.
Yeah, it was, dude. I put my money away. I'm like, if I'm going, I'm going. Like, I'm gonna do it. And I was like, I have to. Like, I just have to do it. And I was super glad that I did, because the entire process of finding the place and like the locals playing along, like, because you can't say lightsaber out loud because it's like contraband. You know, it's, the city's under control, so you have to like be clever about it. And I remember I asked a guy that was like, he was like a janitor or something, like a custodian, and I went over and I was like, excuse me, do you know where I could find some scrap metal? And he kind of did one of these. He was like, and like pointed over that way, and I was like, cool. And then I found the place, and the whole ceremony of it was really awesome. If you watch some
I've
videos,
seen some clips of it.
there's different people that do it, and I've seen some videos where I was like, oh man, I'm super glad I didn't have that guy. Like the guy that was my collector or whatever they wanted to call him was he had like a British accent. I don't know if it was real, but if it wasn't, it was very well done. And he was just really theatrical about the whole thing, and it was super, super cool to go through the whole ceremony and picking out your crystal and building your lightsaber and all that. It was really awesome.
So what kyber crystal did you get? What color?
Oh, red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the Vader lightsaber there. It was the $40 or $60 one that was in the shop.
Right.
But I'm like, this won't be fine. I'm at $200 something. But I think next time maybe I will.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun.
Did you cry?
Almost. I was tearing up. Yeah, it was really cool.
The only couple things I wish that they have more droids and characters walking around.
Yeah. I think they'll get there eventually.
Yeah, and I think it's and then it also sucked that Rise of the Resistance was not open.
Yeah,
when we were there, which I knew going in, but I'm like, it's either now or that. But I still have not watched a video of that because I want to go in the first time seeing it. So I'm kind of
me too. I didn't watch anything on that. I didn't watch anything on the Falcon before I went either. I was like, I need to experience it for the first time, and I got to pilot twice, which was super awesome.
We only did it once, and then I was kind of more worried about Connor because he was 4 at the time, so it was kind of like him trying to fall out of the seat. But I'm like, he was supposed to be like, I think I was a gunner, and he was an engineer. And he was supposed to push buttons, and I'm like trying to reach over to push the buttons for him. Yeah. And I'm just like hitting the buttons over and over again. I was kind of it was kind of nauseating a little bit, but I think if I was piloting the ship, I think I would have a lot more fun doing it.
I got to pilot twice, so me and my fiance got to pilot twice. So we switched positions each time, so I got to be left and right, and so did she. And she did really great. I crashed us into so much stuff. Our second, I think it was our second time piloting, I damaged the Millennium Falcon so badly that we dropped out of hyperspace into an asteroid field and had to navigate that. So the ride is like, depending on how much ship damage you take, different. Like if you do great, you get off the ship and like the hallways are lit and everything's great. But like when we got off, when I smashed it up, the lights are all blinking. There's like steam coming out of the walls. I'm like, okay.
All right. So I guess we had better pilots because that didn't happen for us.
Yeah.
Did you get you tried the milks, right?
I tried the blue milk. I didn't get the green. I tried the blue without the alcohol. I just wanted to experience the pure Bantha milk as is.
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, it was like a fruity.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really describe what fruit, but fruity.
It was a bear. Like the green one was more of a citrus, but they both had they were both very similar, but were slightly different. But I think I prefer the blue one. I think Kristen liked the green one. But we went three times to Galaxy's Edge, the Batuu area, twice at night, which is the best time to go. Was at night.
Awesome at night.
Because there just wasn't that many people there, as many people there. And plus it looks just amazing at night with the lights and the theming.
Yeah.
But yeah, she liked the green milk. I like the blue milk, but we ended up getting that a few times. Did you do the cantina?
We did the cantina, yeah, which was really cool. We were kind of bummed because we had reservations like way in advance, and we got like a standing table. We thought we were going to be able to sit.
Yeah, us too. With a kid that he was shorter than a table, so that was a miserable experience. Plus, they didn't have bathrooms inside the damn place, and then they kept trying to sit other people with us. So I'm like, that was kind of. I wish they would redo that a little bit.
It was cool though. Like they did the Gungan drinking song when we were there and got real rowdy.
Oh, that didn't happen. It was nice seeing the DJ that was from Star Tours go from. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Because that was your first time there. I mean, we
like foamed and made smoke and made your mouth numb. Like it was cool.
Oh right, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I ended up getting like a cinnamon. That was the first time I tried the blue milk, but it was with the cookie on top.
Oh, okay.
It was like more money though. It was like $13 for like that. Disney-fied with the price. Yeah, and it was like a cinnamon bun kind of thing, dessert. Okay. So Connor was kind of miserable in that experience, but I'm trying to think. Yeah, and then we were just kind of
ate at that Docking Bay 7.
Where was? Oh yeah, we didn't eat there. The next night we ate at the Ronto Wrap place. Okay, that was really good.
Cool, because it was like the food was like familiar, but it was also strangely put together enough where it didn't taste like Earth food.
Yeah,
because we got like it was like the Andorian tip yip, so it was like a piece of fried chicken over like mashed potatoes with some vegetables, and then like salsa verde instead of gravy. So it was like things that you would never put together at home unless you were like super stoned. But like when you eat it, you're like, oh, this actually really tastes good together. I just never would have mixed all of these things, you know?
The Ronto wrap was really good. It had peppercorn in it, I think. So it was a little spicy for my liking, but other people love it. And I guess the breakfast one was even better because it has egg in it, but I didn't try that. Then we tried like the spicy popcorn. It was like purpley and red.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did see a guy, you know how they will stay in character in Batuu. Like, they only...
Yeah.
You know. So this guy goes over to this lady that works there, and he's like, excuse me, is there anywhere I can get a breakfast sandwich? And the lady's like, a what? And he's like, oh, I had one yesterday in Magic Kingdom. And she's like, I'm unfamiliar with that system. You know, like, the guy just didn't get it. Like, he wasn't, like, understanding that she was playing a role. And she's like, well, over here at this Ronto Roasters, we have whatever, like, you know, kookaburra eggs and, you know, things like that. But, like, the guy just didn't get it. It was funny.
But on the other hand, I did encounter someone that I think it was at Ronto Raptors Raps place where I was buying something, and he saw my Ranger hat, and he's like, I'm not allowed to say this, but I'm a fan of your hat. He's like, don't tell anyone.
I actually had a worker there. She saw my arm tattoos of like my Universal monsters. And she came over and was like, and we're off-world. She's like, so Universal Studios is doing a whole new park based on these monsters. And I think you would really love it. You should look into it. And she's like, and back on world. And she like, went back into character. So it was super funny.
Oh, man. Talking about it makes me want to go back, but... Yeah.
Oh, I would love to go back when the world is not
on fire. Yeah. Did you have any encounters with stormtroopers at all?
Yeah. I had stormtroopers kind of come up to me and hassle me a little bit, ask me for my ID, and then they asked me if I was affiliated with the First Order, and I was like, absolutely, and they were like, gold star for you, citizen, like. I had a First Order officer go up one side of me and down the other because I was wearing a Han Solo shirt. He was like, that man is a traitor, and he is dead thanks to our supreme leader. Like, and he was like, I have a video of it somewhere. And he was like, who brought you here today? And I'm like, her. And I pointed to my fiance, and he's like, what's her name? And I'm like, Bobby Ann. And he's like, Bobby Ann, this is most vexing. Like, clearly you know which is the right side because she had a Darth Vader shirt on.
Man, people at Star Wars don't get paid enough. I mean, they're
dude, he's like going off, and he's like, from now on, whatever she says is what you do. Do you understand? And I'm like, yes, sir. And he's like, and what do you say to her? And I'm like, yes, ma'am. And he's like, as it should be, and like walks away. It was funny as hell, dude.
Yeah, that was like the highlight too. Is the stormtroopers came up. He's like, "Who's in charge here?" And I'm like, I pointed to Chris, and they're like, "We don't think so. We think it's." And he pointed to Connor in the stroller. He's like, "You better watch yourself." And then like the next day, they're like, "Oh, is anyone affiliated with Resistance?" And then as they're walking down the ramp, I go, "Resistance," like pretending to cough, and they look back and you're like that one's a Resistance reporter, like, oh. better late than sorry, or said something like that.
Yeah.
I'm so curious of like how are the dialogue triggered? Is it a button on their hand? Like I was trying to like.
I don't know. I'm like, do they have voice modulators that are just really good, or they just have a ton of pre-recorded options?
I think it's pre-recorded stuff. I don't know.
But they just work it in so well.
Yeah, it's like, how do you do it so quick? Or it's like,
yeah.
It's got so much.
Spoke to me.
Oh yeah.
I had my lightsaber out. He was walking past, and he like turns and stops and looks at my lightsaber, and he goes, "A lightsaber, interesting." And I was like, and then he like looked me up and down and like walked away, and I was like, "Whoa."
He's like, was it Vader's one, or it was a red one though?
It was mine that I built.
Oh, so was it like Vader's handle? So it was like, Granddad.
He comes over like, that lightsaber belongs to me. Fight you for it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think after we after we visited for both of us, I think they started including like R2 in it, which I wish they would have done that from the beginning, because they had that in like Comic-Con. They would have people just walk around with the remote of controlling R2, and I think it was like BB-8, I think now, but I think they need more droids. More like just alien people walking around. Yeah, just like random alien people.
Yeah. Like, I get that it's hot, though,
And it's actors. Like, they need to hire actors, which you just laid off a shitload of people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hopefully when things get back to normal again, they can hire and make... I mean, then they're going to be doing that whole, like, hotel experience, which is supposed to be, like, so expensive.
Yeah.
Where you don't, like, leave at all. Probably just to go to Batuu, you get to go to, but it's like 2 or 3 days that you stay inside. Like almost like a casino. Yeah, like $1,000 a night to like stay in like this. It doesn't look very comfortable, the bed that I saw like the room recently.
I would do it in a heartbeat. If money wasn't a thing, I'd be on it.
I know. And like it's got to be some way they do it with Disney where you feel like you're flying in a way, or it's like there's a space battle, like, and I'm sure it's like every time you go there's something different. It's like almost like a murder mystery kind of style, but in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many different things that they could do. Like, I think they should start including the Mandalorian in there somehow too, like Baby Yoda.
They had, in Doc Ondar's shop, they had his helmet and his long rifle on the wall.
Oh, okay. Well, it didn't.
It was right where he was standing.
It didn't premiere when I went yet, because it was still the fall, and I think it premiered in October.
Yeah, no, it didn't premiere yet for when I was there either, but I was looking through my pictures, and I was like, oh, look at that. Like, there it is on the wall behind him.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Good talk about Star Wars, man.
Absolutely.
But we can always do this. And I'm sure the next time, whenever the next Star Wars content, we can talk about some more stuff.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so thanks a lot. Have a happy Christmas, happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Merry Toyota-thon or happy Honda days, whichever you celebrate.
Honda days. I have a Honda. That's
well, you're happy Honda days. Not that Nissan sales event.
Yeah, but you have a good one. And I'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy.
All right, take it easy. Bye-bye.
All right, take it easy, man.